What's up YouTube? This is the Psy-Frame Duelist coming at you guys with another Psy-Frame Deck profile. This is after Invasion Vengeance, and this is gonna be one of my most favorite Psy-Frame Deck profile ever, because this includes the new cards from Invasion Vengeance, Multi-Threader, and Accelerator. And yes, I am using both in this deck. I'll explain to you why I'm using both, and I'll explain to you my strategies, okay? So, I'm just moving around. Starting off, you run, and this is over 40 cards by the way. I believe it's 42 cards. Subject to change, this is just my immediate, hey, I got all the cards, this is the deck I threw together, and this is still subject to change. But hopefully it doesn't change too drastically, because I'm really liking the opening hands I'm getting when I'm testing with it. So starting off, you run 3 of the Psy-Frame Multi-Threader. This new card says you can... this card's name is treated as Psy-Frame Driver while it's in the hand or in the graveyard, and if a Psy-Frame card I control, or cards I control, would be destroyed, I can send this card from my hand to the graveyard instead, and it doesn't activate, it just sends it on resolution to replace that card. Also, if the Psy-Frame card is special summoned, or if a Psy-Frame tuner monster I believe is special summoned, then I can special summon it to my field and banish it when it leaves the field. Okay, so that's really good, and it opens up a bunch of plays. Next up is 2 drivers. The only time I will ever say okay to running 2 drivers is when you have Multi-Threader in the deck somewhere, some way, because this card becomes way less needed when Multi-Threader is in the deck. If this card was treated as driver all the time, this card would not be played. This would be at 0 in this deck, and this would be at 3. But as it stands now, you need this. You need the 1 for your initial plays all the time, and sometimes you need a chain gamma if they change max C, so you need a second one. But generally, it's only because of you might not getting this card in your opening hand when you need it, and you need 2 searches and whatnot, 2 gears. Next up, I've been adding so much cards to this deck, I had to take out some things, and I took out one of the next one, which is Psy-Frame Accelerated, or Alpha I mean. So we run 2 Psy-Frame Gear Alphas, because it's probably one of the less needed Psy-Frames in the deck. Yes, it gets you your search. I'm probably going to bump this back up to 3 at some point, but as it stands right now, this card's going to be at 2. I need to find the room to put this card back at 3. Next up is triple Psy-Frame Gear Betas, because it stops attacks, and that's wonderful. Next up, you run 3 of the Psy-Frame Gear Delta, stops spell cards, don't need to explain it. And then triple of the Psy-Frame Gear Gamma, stops monsters, pretty legit. Next up, 3 Card D, because mindless +1s are just mindless, and it's great. And then 1 card I've been taking in, I've been stifling this card for a long time, but I'm trying it out just to see what I can do. And that's Curry Bandit, because you need to get Multi-Threader engrave as quick as possible, because she is so good engraving. Yes, I'm going to call Multi-Threader a girl because she looks like a girl. But Curry Bandit is like, it digs 5 cards into your deck, and it potentially gets Multi-Threader, and it potentially gets Overload Engrave, which is another good card. But it's those potentials that I'm really skeptical about. But I decided that I'll test it and see where it lands, and see if it needs to stay in or if it gets taken out. I'm still skeptical about it, which is why it's only at 1 in the deck and not at 3. It's that unsure I get about it, and 5 cards is quite a bit. That's a lot of good cards I could be hitting too. Next up, we run 3 of the Psy-Frame Circuit, because this card is wonderful, and it still is wonderful in this deck. It's less needed in the deck, but that doesn't mean it's not wonderful in the deck. So, Psy-Frame Circuit, I don't even need to explain it. It just synchro summons whenever a Psy-Frame card is special summoned, and then it's also pseudo honest, where if a Psy-Frame monster attacks another monster, or is attacked by another monster, I can send a Psy-Frame from my hand and make that Psy-Frame card gain that monster's attack. The monster I sent. Next up, you run 3 Pot of Duality. I still don't run Pot of Desires. I was gonna say Pot of Greed. That card's banned. I'm not gonna play Pot of Desires because I still afraid of the Banish 10 effect. Plus, I can just, I can kick the ass of any deck that plays Pot of Desires any day. So I don't really see the need to play it. If you want to play Pot of Desires, go for it. I don't see the need to play it. I really do not. Especially in this deck where if you banish your multi-threaders, that's another play you're just throwing away. But don't let my ignorance get in the way of you playing Pot of Desires in this deck. Go for it. Take out your dualities for Desires. Take out whatever you want for Desires. Okay, I'm not going to say that's a bad card because I will not say that card's bad. I just don't think it's good in this deck is all. Even though Omega puts him back in grave, it's just you're not always guaranteed to get Omega, which is the problem. You need to get one of your 2 plays going before you can go for an Omega. And sometimes it just doesn't happen. Next up, you're in triple Psychic Field Zone. For a while now I've taken out Path for this card. I haven't looked back yet because Path is just 100% less than this card. This card is greater than it in every way, shape, or form. Because if I get a gear and a driver or a multi-threader in my banish zone, I can just send them to graveyard and synchro summon with them. I don't need to put them in hand and then try and get them on the field again for a potential another synchro play. It gives me the play. It gives me the monster I need. And then because multi-threader is now in the deck, I'm trying a new card out, a new combo piece, and this is Telekinetic Power Well. So this card is Soul Charge, okay? It just is. It's Soul Charge for Psychics with less of a cost. So its effect reads, it says you can special summon any number of level 2 or lower Psychic type monsters from your graveyard and then take damage equal to the total level times 300. So you're not going to be taking very much damage, okay? I can get a 1 and a 2 on the field and only take 900 damage, which is less than 1 Soul Charge for 1 monster. Okay, so I'm getting more monsters for less of a cost. And I say thank you, because if I can get a 1 or a 2 from my graveyard to the field, and multi-threaders in there too, multi-threader special summons itself for free after that, and then I can immediately, if it's on my turn, I can just immediately synchro summon with them. Or if it's on my opponent's turn, I have the field spell up, I can immediately just synchro summon with them again. Like, it is freaking insane. Also, I can attack that turn. I can use my Psy-Frames from hand that turn. Like, there is no downside to running this card in this deck. Like, it's, oh my god, it's insane. Remember when I was saying that Curry Bandit was like a one of in the deck because it's not guaranteed to get me the cards I need? Well, my next card is a card I've been testing out, and it does give me that guaranteed card. I've been testing out one Foolish Burial. And the reason why is because it just sends my freaking multi-threader from my deck to the graveyard. So if I need to set up before I can go for a Telekinetic Power Well, and I draw that Foolish Burial, Psy-Frame multi-threader to grave, Telekinetic Power Well, get 1, get multi-threader, synchro summon. What? Like that? How is that fair at all? I'll tell you, it's not. Another card that that I just threw in here to see what will happen is one Emergency Teleport. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen with Emergency Teleport, because I can just get any of the Psy-Frames from my deck, and if this card's already engraved, then I can just immediately synchro summon for them like as soon as possible. There's no reason you shouldn't be running it, except for if you're not getting, multi-thread engraved first. It's really a race to see what cards you can get, like how fast you can get multi-thread engraved before you can use, Telekinetic Power Well and whatnot. So that's all my deck's doing right now. It's all about multi-threader, and it's all about making her amazing. So, next up, we run the traps. There is triple overload. There is no reason to run less than triple overload. It's, oh my god, it's just one of the best trap cards in the game right now. Like, there is no reason not to run it, because banishing cards face down is always good. Next up, you run triple Drowning Mirror Force, because this card is just absolutely insane. Shuffling cards to the deck if they attack directly. When, I never have monsters on the field, so that's going to happen quite frequently, and it doesn't target. It's just so good. Next up, 2 Psy-Frame accelerators because 2 is amazing. And what people really don't know about this card, its effect reads that you can pay 500 life points and target a Psy-Frame monster on my side of the field, banish it until my next standby phase. Sorry, one sec. Sorry, I'm back. And then if a Psy-Frame card leaves the field, I can special summon a Psy-Frame card from my hand. So what people don't really realize is the first effect actually triggers the second effect. And that's amazing because say if I use a Delta, and this combo works with any 2 Psy-Frame gears in hand, okay? So I got a Delta and I got a Beta. It works best during the battle phase with Beta. Like, it works best with Beta. So what happens is they attack, you go Beta, you know, stop their attack, and then get whichever gear, or whichever, like, multi-threader or driver, it really doesn't matter. And then your opponent goes, okay, end phase, and then they're about to be banished. You can go, okay, flip accelerator, pay 500 life points, targeting your level 7 or 6 or whatever it is, banishing it, and then you get to special summon because it triggers its second effect. To special summon another card, whichever one's in your hand, say the Delta, special summon it, then Beta will banish itself because of its effect, and then during your standby phase your 6 will come back and you can just immediately synchro summon using the regular synchro summon mechanic. There is no reason why you shouldn't be doing that, and that is why I put it at 2 in this deck, because that play is absolutely insane. And we're talking about that without having the field spell on the field at all. Like, it's just so good for this freaking deck. Like, people have been saying, like, oh, it's not that great, it's pretty lackluster. It's like, well, it's actually better than you think, because you're looking at it at the point of view of, oh, it just saves your Omega because it can't be activated during the battle phase, and the second effect's pretty worthless because you're not actually going to be doing that. Well, actually, it's a little bit more complex than that, because it doesn't, like, that's not the only uses for this card. You can use it to, accelerate your plays. You know, you can just synchro summon after using one of these guys' failed effects, you know, where they get to banish themselves during the end phase. You can actually make that a positive with this card, because its first effect triggers the second effect. It's so good. It's just crazy. And I've been putting in so much stuff and taking out such little things. I only run the 2 strikes. I took out the warning because I've been running out of room. The warning may come back though. Like, don't expect it to be gone for very long. Warning is so good in this deck. But I think strike's better because it stops already established boards. It stops like a CDI, you know. It stops so much good stuff in the game. But yeah. Time to go on to the extra deck. I have it face down because I've been kind of messing around with it a bit. So, first up, you run 1 Hot Red Dragon Archfiend King Calamity. So, you're rarely going to make this card, but it is possible. And it's possible because of this card, which is Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Bane. And he is just God. So I don't even know what this guy does. I haven't even really used him. So when Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss Bane, I don't even know his name. Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Bane. This card inflicts battle damage to your opponent. You can special summon 2 tuner monsters with the same level, 1 from your deck and 1 from your graveyard in defense position. You can only use whatever. That part's only once per turn. So you go for this, and then you go for 2 1s, and then you can just synchro again for this card. You're rarely going to do that, but it is a play, and that's the reason why they're in the deck to begin with. Otherwise, there's no real reason to put it in. These cards are kind of expendable. It's just good to have them, you know, on hand to make sure you keep them. 1 Overmind Archfiend, he's coming back. His Archfiend is better than Hyper Psychic Blaster in every way, shape, or form. This is one amazing card that you're going to go into almost all the time if it's possible, which is Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. So, Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss just says you can target a face-up card and its effects are negated until the end of this turn, which works on cards that just flip to activate, like Near Force and just all kinds of things. Cards that already face up, like field spells and whatnot, they're all negated. It's so good. Like, if your opponent has that one card that's already face up and that's their entire board, it's just one card that's face up and you just don't want to deal with it, even if it doesn't affect you, to make sure it's not going to deal anything, you can just, you know, boop, negate, and then just attack because you're not going to worry about it. Next up, one Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend. Because, you know, ghost rares are beautiful. But this is like the card that you want to go into to start your plays. So this is why Telekinetic Powerwell is actually in the deck. Because if you have like an Omega on the field, then you can just go Telekinetic Powerwell, go for a 2, go for a 1, special summon them both, take 900 points of damage, which is less than 1 soul charge, get multi-threader for free, go for Synchro Summon, go for this, Synchro Summon, go for that. And then it's just, oh my god, it's so easy to do that in this game. It's just freaking insane. I'm sorry about the glare, by the way. It's like down here it gets really bad. Like up here is fine, so that's why it's like that. Sorry, I've got something in my throat right now. Next up, you run one Crystal Wing because you can make it even easier in this deck than you could before with E-Tele, with Telekinetic Powerwell, with just a bunch of stuff in this deck now. It's so much easier to make Crystal Wing. Like, it's freaking insane how easy it is. 2 Omegas because Omega's Bay. 1 Thought Ruler. This card can come out at any time for anything else you need. 1 Yazi from Magispectors because it can beat over all their Magispectors and it can't be targeted, so it's like F off. 2 Zetas because Zeta's Bay. 1 Life Transfer for time. And 1 Black Rose because of board wipes. I think this is a 14 card. I don't know if I put my last one in, but as of now I'm putting in 1 Utopia Beyond because it is actually possible to make this card with Accelerator. Because if your opponent, you know, if you use Beta or whatever and you don't have this, but you have another like multi-threader in hand, you can go, okay, Accelerator, use it on the other one. So that'll get banished from the effect. This will get banished from its own effect. And then you can special summon your 6, stand by phase, that'll come back, and then you can just go for Utopia Beyond, which is actually, again, pretty common to do in the deck. Because usually if you don't have one, usually you will have the other at some point. And then it just, you know, Utopia Beyond can just, it's just so good against like established boards. It makes all the monsters on the field 0 basically. And then it's a permanent 0. It's not even a 0 for the end of the turn, it's permanent. It's just, oh my god. But yeah, that's the deck profile. Tell me what you think in the comment. Tell me what you think should be taken out, what should be put in. I think it's pretty solid right now. I need to go and do some tests with it. So far the only tests I've been doing is just opening hands and seeing what I've been getting, and I've been getting some pretty lucky hands. So maybe it's just luck, maybe it's actually like a good ratio, but I think when I put some more cards in, it actually made it less likely that I was going to get my multi-thread and my drivers, which is what I want to see. You know, I don't want to see those cards in my opening hand. But we'll see what will happen after some more testing. The ratios are kind of wonky right now. I'll have to settle with that right now. But I think this is 14 cards in my extra. I'm going to have to do some research because I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be a Titanic Galaxy in here too. But we'll see what will happen later in my next Psy-Frame Deck profile. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the nonsense you usually do. And this is the Psy-Frame Duelist signing out.